going on, everyone? Let's see if this works live this time. Mic'd up. Looks like we're working. All right. So, set up here, about to do a morning workout, and I wanted to talk about what do you do when a patient doesn't want a home mobility kit? It happens every once in a while. What's a home mobility kit? We should probably put this in perspective first. So, in this live podcast, whatever you hear this on, I'm going to cover what do you do when someone doesn't want a home mobility kit. But first, let's build the foundation, explain what the home mobility kit is, what the 12-week transformation is. I'm going to flip this around. I want to make sure this was working. And here we go. All right. Hopefully this is a good camera angle. Let me get this all situated. Give some people a chance to jump on here live on a wonderful Sunday morning. All right, let's see. This should work, right? Okay, cool. Maybe what I can do too, check this out. Here, I'll give people a chance to jump on here. This will be my way of double checking. I'll get on Facebook and I will look to make sure you can see me. I could open that in another window right here. Am I on here? Look at that. Is that weird? It's like Inception. Okay. A little bit of a delay, but it looks like we're on here live. Okay, cool. All right. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Wants to go super big. Okay, cool. So what I have pulled up behind us is the 12-week transformation. This is what we use in our clinic for our patients. And this is actually the cloned version. This is the one that we share with all of our moving out doctors. They set up in their clinic. They essentially customize a video here, put in their staff here, and then everything else on here works to be used universally. You're teaching the 5 fundamentals of health: spine, movement, lifestyle, fuel, and goals. And this revolves around using a home mobility kit. So again, I know that the title is, what do you do when a patient doesn't want a home mobility kit? Well, I'll get to that. Let me show you what a home mobility kit is first. So hold on one second. Gather up some of this stuff. So this is first step of this. You can still hear me on here. So there's a bag with a foam roller in it. I'm grabbing a J-cane, grabbing a neck trigger point tool, grabbing this all off of my shelf over here in my home gym. Mobility bands, double cross ball, and what else? I think that's it, right? Hopefully I'm not missing something in my own kit here. Make sure we're still good. Live. See if I'm back in the screen. You can see me. Let's see, do I show up? How much of a delay is on here? For those of you listening on audio, I have a screen pulled up. I'm watching myself on Facebook Live on a screen, and I've been standing here for more than 10 seconds now, and here I am. Okay, cool. It's working. All right. So here's what the home mobility kit is. You have neck trigger point tool. This is used for trigger point work in the neck. We have some protocols. We teach a patient to do a 6-way neck stretch using this. Works awesome. I've not found anything better than this, so we love this tool. We have these in all of our changing rooms. We have these all over the clinic. Patients use these for spinal warm-ups. Great piece of equipment. Double cross ball, and mind you, these are a little worn down, but all of them have logos on it that said Move All Spinal Rehab. This is a sub-brand, the power of sub-branding. Big companies do this. They have us as a sub-brand, okay? I've had doctors ask, well, can we put our clinic name on it? You don't want to. You don't want to do that, because what you're doing is you're taking your parent brand, which is your clinic, and you're associating it with a sub-brand, which is going to be this widely recognized type of sub-brand, okay? It at least gives that appeal to the patients. They say, oh wow, this clinic's part of this Move All Spinal Rehab thing. That's pretty cool. This 12-week transformation, that's another sub-brand. In our own clinic, we don't call this the Gonstead Spine and Wellness Dr. Todd Home Mobility Kit. No, we don't do that. Why do we do that? Why don't we do that? Because we understand the power of sub-branding as well. So even us, the people that created this, we use this as a sub-brand as well. We recommend you do the same thing. So we have a double cross ball. Comes in this bag. All the stuff fits in the bag except for the J-cane. even on the foam roller. So it's got a little foam roller in here. There's protocols doing the foam roller. And then J-cane, it's all color matched. And these, I'm guessing are, yeah, logo's still on there. So, whoa, you can see that there too. Okay, red band, black band. So anyway, that's the home mobility kit. Now, 99% of your patients are not gonna have this stuff at home. Every once in a while, maybe 1 out of 100, you'll have someone that says, I already have a foam roller, I already have a double crossball. You just omit that from the kit. They get the rest of the stuff that they need. That's pretty much to answer the question. That's the spoiler alert on the whole title here of this little presentation we're doing. But the reason that I'm going through this is to set the precedence and to tell you, I'm gonna move this pull-up bar, is the reason that they need a home mobility kit is because they're gonna be following this 12-week transformation. And inside of this, there's an exercise library. So let's say we've identified with the patient their protocols they need to do at home. So they come through into your clinic, they do a movement assessment on day 2. You find in the movement assessment that there's compelling evidence to show they have cervical dysfunction, thoracic dysfunction, and shoulder dysfunction. That happens to be D1, D2, D3, dysfunction 1, 2, 3. We have this all mapped out. This is inside of our belt system of functional movement, which is a progressive process of assigning corrective exercises in the most evidence-based, proven approach, which clears first mobility, then extensibility, which is part of mobility, which is like stretching, then stability, then pattern reinforcing, then loading. Really, mobility, stability, loading, okay? We break it up in this sequence of global mobility, focus mobility, soft tissue extensibility, stability and patterning, loading, and then we have this functional series for different ancillary things that we want to prescribe. Essentially what this is it's a very comprehensive but quick way of identifying and assigning protocols so that you as the doctor can communicate with your exercise team, and your exercise team, exercise department, therapist, whoever's back there knows exactly what to do with the patient based on what you've assigned. And you're not sitting there for 30 minutes figuring out, well, should I have them do some glute activation and a glute bridge? And then they got a problem with internal rotation of the shoulder. So do you have to figure out all those protocols? We have quick ways of doing that stuff. We have quick ways of clearing them and saying, okay, we're going to do D1, D2, we're going to do cervical dysfunction, thoracic dysfunction. Let's focus on improving shoulder flexion. So boom, do those protocols. And they'll now be set to do protocols for the next several weeks with your patient. And it goes through a progression that keeps them engaged, keeps them excited about what they're doing, and also clearly lays out what for them to do at home. They need their home mobility kit, so they have the tools to be able to duplicate what you've been showing them to do in office. Just checking in periodically to make sure I'm still live on here, since I have a camera flipped around on me so you don't see everything backwards. Facebook really has to change that on a mobile device. I know I could use a camera or something and get fancy, but we still do this off good old iPhone. That's what we're doing this on right now. So we flip this around here. Let me enlarge this a bit so you can see it. It's not going to enlarge the pop-up. Okay, so this shows the functional movement progressions. You're basically getting a sneak peek into the belt system. The main thing I wanted to show you though is that we have an interactive exercise library. So all of our patients get access to this 12-week transformation site right here, and they could click on, okay, lacrosse ball, chest. Let's go J-cane traps. Let's see, so they can click on this. Hey everybody, Dr. Todd from MoveWell. In this video, I'm going to go through how to use the J-cane, which is part of the MoveWell Home Mobility Kit for upper, mid, and lower musculature. It's going to be the trapezius, parts of the lat, the paraspinal muscles, pretty pulled down with this hand and then pushing forward. So now this saves you the time of having to recreate these videos, because we filmed all these videos out wearing a shirt that says Move Well or Move Now, and patient is using the tools that you provided for them, because our members get these kits. We get these in a massive quantity ourselves. We're able to get the pricing down. So we source all this stuff. We have a big warehouse full of this stuff. We ship this out every single week. You can get this at a great discounted rate. You sell it to your patient, and they can get it at a pretty much same rate that they'd pay if they tried to source it like on Amazon or something. But it's all included in the fact that you're having them opt in for this 12-week transformation, which is line itemed. It's something you charge for inside of their care plan, because rightfully so, it's above and beyond what everyone else is doing, right? It's a home mobility kit program included with the 12-week transformation, which is, again, it's this online membership site that not just has an exercise library, okay, but it has a lot more. It has this whole process right here. And if you hear that little whining, that's my dog Dorian hanging out here in my home gym. I have my door cracked, so he's watching dogs walk by and whimpering. Dorian, hey, you're doing good, buddy. Hang in there. So then over here we have fundamentals of health. I'll show you this first intro video that patients see.
Welcome to the 12-week transformation. Each week you will see there are 5 different sections where we cover video
Might be hard to
content,
hear.
sometimes downloadable content, and it goes through 5 different categories that really encompass overall health. One is spine, second one is movement, third one is lifestyle, fourth one is fuel, and then the fifth one is goals. So make sure that you check out the videos in each section, that you follow along in your home journal as well, and we welcome you to the 12-week transformation.
So there's a home journal as well that patients get, and your team is helping them map out in the home journal what exercises they're going to do at home as well. So this is how this whole system works together. Move Now University is not just another way to do a movement assessment. It's not just another way to assign exercises. It is a complete comprehensive system of how do you put a fully functional exercise department in your existing chiropractic clinic? Or if you're building another clinic, how do you map this out in such a way that you're using the best proven protocols? Proven meaning I still practice full time. I practice 4 days a week. And we see patients doing this. We see the objections. We handle the objections. We try to use our systems, which are a step ahead of addressing the concern that would create the objection. And most of the time we do that properly. So meaning we are a couple steps ahead of knowing what the patient's going to possibly object to. So we cover that ahead of time so that it's smooth sailing and it works like a charm. We do this real time. We're not sitting back from some ivory tower saying, well, here's how you do this down there. And yep, this is how it works. You just say this script and you recite this. No, I'm not about that. I'm all about you can individualize this as much as you want. We're going to show you what's worked on our end. We're going to show you the sequence of steps, the things that have to be done in a sequential format from day 1 to day 5 so that you can set your patient up successfully through this in-office exercise process, the home mobility process, their home rehab process. Across the board, patients have a pretty low compliance of doing home care. In our system, they have a very high compliance. All right, so it's approximately, from what we've seen, about 7 out of 10 of our patients are doing a pretty high level of home care. Pretty high level means at least 3 times a week. Okay, a lot of our patients, so probably 2, 3 out of 10, are doing it 7 to 11 times per week. Their home care, yes, 7 to 11 times per week. And then you have a couple of people that might just do it once a week or so. It takes several weeks to get them to build these habits. You really got to nudge them and push them. And unfortunately, that's just the reality of humanity. You do your best to engage them and motivate them, but you'll have a certain percentage that no matter what you do, they're just not going to comply and do the home care. They'll finish their whole phase of care. Then they'll say, okay, yeah, in my second phase of care, I'm going to do it more. And a lot of them come around in the second phase of care, like after they've completed 12 weeks of corrective work. So we have a very high compliance because we've created these systems behind the scenes to make sure that people are engaged. All right. Now, we talked about what the home mobility kit is. This is line itemed inside of the patient's care plan. If you're not doing care plans, I'm not really sure how you're practicing in 2020. If patients want some sort of objective measure, they want some goal, they want to know what's the point of doing care once I relieve said symptom that I came in for. When I don't have pain anymore, what do I do? That sheds light into a bigger problem of having a pain management practice or a pain-only practice instead of immediately going from pain to function, lifestyle, health outcomes, all of that. And that's what we transition over very, very quickly from day 1, is getting them off the pain train even though we're addressing their pain, we're getting them into understanding, how did you get here to begin with? It's a segment, posture, and movement problem. You have a segmental problem in your spine, that's where you're coming to a chiropractor. No one does this better or even does it even close compared to a skilled chiropractor. So you have to do chiropractic. Posture, we have to look at postural integrity. What's going on head in relation to your rib cage, in relation to your pelvis and your feet, on the front view and the sagittal plane. How are we looking at this and addressing this? How does a segmental problem cause curve issues and alignment issues in your posture overall? And then movement, so segment, posture, movement. Movement is, was there some sort of dysfunctional movement pattern that set you up to have a segmental issue? Was there a movement pattern that screwed up your posture? It all feeds into one another. What came first, chicken or the egg? It depends on the scenario, depends on the person. Sometimes it's a movement that gets them. Sometimes it's a postural problem, a weakness. Sometimes it's a trauma that causes a problem with segmental integrity. So it all fits together, but all three of those things have to be measured, and in most cases, all three have to be addressed. So that is the way that we explain this to patients. They understand it. They see this as unique and different. It decommoditizes what you do as a chiropractor. I'll explain that. When you have a commodity practice, it means who is $3 cheaper and who is a couple miles closer. I'll just go to that place because it's all the same. What makes you different? However, if you have this comprehensive approach, you have the skill, the mindset, the ability to talk the talk with the patients and then deliver the resources. So put your money where your mouth is, right? Not just all fluff, right? But actually a specific system. Patients see that. Patients get that. We get feedback from patients all the time. They say, wow, this is really a well-oiled machine. Or they'll say, how come more chiropractors don't do all of this stuff? And I'll tell them simply, well, because it's something that takes a little bit more work. You know, it takes more work, takes more desire, more expertise. However, that's precisely why we started sharing this with other doctors. You know, initially when we started Move Well, and then we changed it to Move Now. So Move Now, I'll just say, our system, we didn't build this with the intention of training other chiropractors. We didn't build this with the intention of sharing this with anyone else. This was our thing for our own patients. We were trying to solve a problem in our own practice. We knew functional movement was the future, and we wanted to have a fully operational exercise department, but there was no one out there that was teaching how to do this for chiropractors. They might teach a movement assessment, and it takes 40 minutes. Not gonna work. We need to do this in 10 to 12 minutes, okay? Because we're busy. They might teach correctives, but it takes so much time and energy, or every single visit, the doctor has to get involved and figure out what to do, and it just pulls away from us being a chiropractor, being able to focus on the most important thing, which is checking and adjusting our patients, right? And guiding them through care. Very, very important. So that wasn't gonna work. So we built the belt system. Then you have, okay, well, what other ancillary program do we have to use to prescribe exercises? And then how do we map this out each visit? And yeah, maybe it's really easy and it emails them some exercises to do for the next couple weeks. Nope, not gonna work. We built a 12-week transformation. Then there was the problem of, well, patients have questions every single visit about things like, you know, sleeping properly, or like, for example, in week 1, we talk about thoracic kyphosis and life expectancy. We're immediately tying together posture and life expectancy so they understand the importance of this. It's not about pain. Proper posture, standing, sitting, sleeping. We have videos on this. All right, so right from the get-go, setting goals. Why do we do all this stuff to begin with? How come we have a home journal? How come we're setting measurable goals with a patient? Key is you gotta set measurable goals, because all the best studies out there point to the most successful people in the world. They don't just say their goals out loud, but what do? They write them down. So what do? We have our patients write down their goals. Very important. And we do it in a non-cheesy way. And then each week we're talking about fuel. What things should you add to your diet or omit from your diet? Because you can't ignore nutrition 100%. We don't do a ton of nutrition in our practice. It's not something that we want to have as a huge focus. However, we still have some guidance with it, and we do that in the form of the 12-week transformation. All right, nutrition is very important. Maybe one day in the future, we're gonna hone on this more, but right now, we at least touch on it, and patients comment, oh yeah, I watched the video on sugar. That was really awesome. That was really helpful. I've been reducing my sugar intake. And then goals. Every week, we recap and we talk about goals. You need to do that so it's little steps with your patient to rebuild or I should say build and pattern habits. And these new habits are going to be things like using their home mobility kit, all right, understanding the importance of spinal hygiene. You know, a good friend of ours, Dr. Tabor Smith, has really done a great job making that terminology be better well known as far as spinal hygiene. Spinal hygiene is something that you should be talking about. How do we address this with someone's spinal hygiene? We have a home mobility kit. We send them home with certain traction devices as far as to use. We use thoracic, lumbar, scoli-dental rolls. We use the we use the neck traction unit, which is a type of cervical spine traction that I invented and patented a couple years back. That works really well. That you can change the load for cervical curve depending on if you have an 80-year-old patient or if you have a 18-year-old thin flexible female, which is like tractioning a rubber band, some of the hardest spines to change. So this neck traction unit is something you can use for all of those different demographics. So each week it takes them through this process. So that's week 1, and then it goes week 2. Whoops, that was week 3. Week 2, what is a subluxation? We explain the sit-stand study. Can movement predict life expectancy? Yep, it can. Design your daily routine and ritual. So we share with how do you map out a daily routine and ritual? How do you just become a better human being, right? And put health as the number one priority. Coconut oil, what's the research say about that? Omega-6 to 3 fatty acid ratio, and a bunch of resources, and then your goals, right? So week by week. And this opens up 1 week at a time for your patients. So initially they get some emails that cue them to log in and look at week 1 and then week 2 and week 3. And let's say that you don't like these videos that we have, or you want to substitute one here or there. The cool thing is the platform we use for this, which is ClickFunnels, it's fully editable. We give you this template with the training on how to use it. We have some doctors that want to add additional content. They want to take something out because it doesn't fit within their philosophy or their practice model. But I was careful that when I put this together, I went through things that about 99% of the chiropractors that we work with, it jives with, and it saves you a ton of time and energy of not having to redo this. So this is week 3, joint by joint approach, talk about tight musculature, so the mechanisms behind it and how to change it moving forward. That just working on muscles is not going to fix you if you have a joint or a neurological driver. The importance of vitamin D, eat more vegetables, so on. Okay, so you get the picture of how this thing works. Cervical spine studies, hidden ligament injuries, taping, sleep, drink more water, all right, so on. And then this has the full exercise library inside of it as well, which is great. So that's a 12-week transformation. We talked about the home mobility kit. Hopefully I answered questions on this title of what to do when your patient doesn't want a home mobility kit. You just omit what stuff they already have. But it was kind of a trick title, not really a trick, but it was a title to at least make you interested, but then you can see there's a comprehensive system behind this. So it's not just about selling your patients a home mobility kit. It's providing them resources for a process that you're going to teach them and help them pattern and build these habits that are going to last for a lifetime. The first 12 weeks with your patient is just the beginning. It's just the beginning for them. This is exciting. We are taking you through a process, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, so that you can build habits that you're going to use for the rest of your life, that you can share with your family, your friends, your circle of influence, anyone and everyone that you know, the importance of spinal health, overall health, how it starts with your spine, segment, posture, movement, how to address this, give you resources so you can be confident with your health. So when you have a little ache or pain here or there, yeah, it could be a sign that you need to get your spine checked and come in and see us, but you're empowered because you have the know-how of getting yourself out of certain predicaments, understanding how your body works. Doesn't substitute what we do as a chiropractor, but it empowers your patient to know that this is a multifaceted approach for overall health. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing, and it's definitely not a just get adjusted and that's going to fix everything under the sun. For any of us that have been in practice long enough, we know that as much as we recite that and try to believe that, it's just simply not true. There's multiple things that go into overall health. Chiropractic and the adjustment is huge. It's a huge piece of that, and I firmly believe if you don't have that, you can't truly be healthy. And I feel that as a chiropractor, it's a perfect platform for us to introduce these other concepts and tie them together. Segment, posture, movement. So anyway, comment, let me know what you think. Check out our demo if you haven't yet. I'll show you all the behind the scenes stuff inside of our doctor training program. It's demo.movenowyou.com. Hopefully this was helpful and you enjoyed this. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk with you real soon.